You know, it really isn't difficult for Ainz to do what he wants. Easily overpowering the dragons, just... You're in my control now. If reclaiming the Dwarven Kingdom and achieving more manpower for his own realm is done so in a simple little visit, can anyone actually put up a defense against him? Is it even worth trying? The world is a dangerous place. Well, at least if you go against the Sorcerer Kingdom. So let's see more. Right. So, once again you have the theocracy getting involved, countries trying to reassure their own safety. Especially with the Sorcerer Kingdom out there emboldening themselves. And he is... Since he is seemingly taking on a lot of responsibilities, he's not just some pompous type prince, and what a good time for the birds to come flying. Well, of course, it works out in their favour. I mean, how many plots do they have? It might be for the best, knowing how just overpowering the Sorcerer Kingdom is over everything. Yeah, it's not quite the same leadership. The internal strife might be too much. And his will was crushed by the war. So he would become king, the princess would get her way. Would he be good on the throne? He seems to be not just giving up and hiding. He seems to be trying to actually do something. And a meeting with some barons. With the prince talking about a potential rebellion should they try to vassalize themselves. And now, a meeting with some barons that look totally above board. Would be interesting to see, because we've got so many different ways of doing it. We've got the Dwarf Kingdom and how they kind of came under the fold. The dragons who had their morale crushed horribly due to the death of their king in an instant. The Empire folding. Now the kingdom trying to save itself, but also tearing itself apart at the seams. At least, possibly. That's where I'm imagining it going. Ah, yes. Don't worry about it yet. He's... Why won't they just... listen to his words? They're so wise. And of course, he knows best, after all. Sono tori. And considering this is the one that tried to ally themselves with Albedo. Actually, some meritocracy, getting people that are actually good at their job, what they do, and how much they can actually contribute, rather than just because they're in a position of power. However, they have an endless supply of labour. Would you want our skeleton-raised wheat? I don't see an issue. Undercutting the market, flooding the kingdom with cheap food. Why would they do that for such a... I'm sure that would go well. The hammer of justice? What are you going to hold them to? And of course a plan made over drinks like this when he's a little under the influence is always going to go well. Problems encountered during transport of aid. Something that was unexpected. It's clever, kind of, since Momon is kind of so praised around here. Ah, Endoma. We haven't heard from her in quite a while. If Albedo is requesting it. So much so that they need to be called back immediately, and all of the floor guardians need to make an appearance? Ah. Were they caught? They somehow managed to overpower a carriage that was under their control. That would be too much to... to endanger themselves. I'm guessing that it's tracked back to the one that they've had a bit of previous with. Yeah, well, they might have chosen the wrong noble. Or just a single upstart trying to raise themselves. Well, bring them forth. I wonder why they're prostrating and fearful. Please don't murder her immediately. However, you also didn't gather the information that this was happening. Quite a simple task, I would say. You are unable to go against his wishes. Well, fear. Does fear constitute towards hostility? How generous. Which would also mean that since Albedo is somewhat responsible, it would also be his response if it was a subordinate. How far up the chain does any mistakes go? He is such a magnanimous leader. Some thorough thought. Punishing anyone and everyone. And somehow made it out alive. Found another subordinate for life, I would think. She will do everything within her power to help out now. Did he make sure to clear some of that dominate from her before releasing? Work themselves to death if need be. If there was a bigger plot at large, how would it be best to deal with it? They were not directly in the need to know, but since things have changed, especially Demiurge, through a civil war, get them to tire themselves out. A certain individual, eh? Then what's divulging? Thank you, Shelter. Thank you. However, such a small scale thing against the Sorcerer Kingdom. Is it a genius, or is it just someone pushing out for more gain of their own? Of course, those that incited him into acting. Understand the mind of the asinine. Rather than thinking for the improbable. I mean, the fact that Irons has gone this far, even with him not really knowing what the hell's going on half the time. Stumbled ass backwards into figuring things out. Or at least giving enough information for them to work it out. They would need punishment to dissuade anyone else from acting. Oh god, here we go. The cleansing of the kingdom. How is Ain's gonna talk them down? How can we think of a way to punish them, get the others of the kingdom to agree to this punishment, see that it was just, without causing the uprising against themselves? Really? Are you just going along with the crowd, Mare? I mean, Ain's words are absolute. Had already foreseen this kind of circumstance. Of how calculating of you, Demiurge, to pick out part of his plan. However, those that hold out, it shows what happens now. Now do it on a countrywide scale. Are they going to send an act of war? Yeah, they do have a fair few names under the banner of the Sorcerer Kingdom now. Yeah, there might be a reason you haven't heard of Faceless. It is possible. I mean, there's always the possibility of infiltration and whatnot, but have they been dealt with? What is your punishment for them? Are they going to send a delegation party out to the Sorcerer Kingdom to try and smooth over the issues? Questioning for themselves. Rather than all-out conflict of an innocent? He's already declaring him an innocent. Even if they are particularly guilty and even orchestrated things. I think for the protection of your entire kingdom, to not instill some additional conflict. A slightly reasonable request, considering. I mean, you can understand both sides. Stop what's going on, protect your future generations, protect the honour and those that who have fought for you up until this point. Looks like the stick has arrived. The kingdom might be in a bit of... definitely in a bit of trouble now. I think now that we have it cuts off to show us this. It's so important that it cuts through the ending to have the meeting here with... well, she's here to declare some things. Well, the king bowing his head is one thing. Him being against the sacrifice of a noble, but knowing how big of a threat the Sorcerer Kingdom is itself, offering his own life in reparation for the damage of the cards. Scolding his son for, would you throw your own citizens under the bus, if it means protecting the others and yourself? Is he trying to teach him a lesson about what kind of ruler he should be? Trying to immediately give you the thinking that he was a bit rash and thinking of the kingdom's history rather than its future. But the carrot and the stick. The Empire now possibly thriving with all the additional safety and measures that they've got for allying themselves so neatly and quickly. Anyone that does rise up and cause trouble, well, we've seen as the battle they mentioned. Well, much less of a battle, more just a one-sided demonstration. It wasn't even a show of power, was it? It was basically just an opening salvo, and that was all that was needed. So you can understand why anyone would be slightly hesitant to immediately just pick up arms against him. And with all of the seals in place on that letter of... just how many nations were here? And ones we don't even know about. And the problem is, the longer they wait, the harder it's going to get for them. With more kingdoms and nations that sign up into either vassalization or some sort of treaty, fighting for equal footing in this one is going to be mighty difficult. Also, the conversation that just happened back in Nazarictus, if she was in charge of the ones that did this, is she guilty? Well, who's in charge of her? And then Albedo, who's in charge of you? Does it go up to the top? So now, after that, can she hold the king responsible for something one of his citizens did? Is Albedo going to learn the same lessons that Shaltir has been eagerly writing down in her little notepad? How do you know? It's only a matter of time before someone did something foolish, and under the influence of alcohol, orchestrating this plan to gather themselves a little more power, a little more respect. You can't have their entire region undercut by cheap food. I mean, you could have tried thinking of some ways to stabilise market prices or enter a conversation with the Sorcerer Kingdom, but straight into common thievery. And so, as it is, I think in the next episode we'll be shown some sort of display showing exactly the kingdom where their place is in all of this, but it really does depend on their answer and how much the prince steps up to stand and rule. Personally, I think he's definitely shown that he's been trying to save his kingdom at least a little. Much more than we've seen others that just kind of squander their position away. Ran away from responsibility, but no. He's not doing too bad. Definitely changed how I viewed him long ago. But still, there's more episodes to come, and I don't think everything is going to go smoothly. So ultimately, I think we need to see what's going on there. If you enjoyed this one, let me know. If you leave a like and comment on the video, it really helps me and the channel. But if you want something for yourself, and at least if you enjoyed it, consider subscribing for more. But for now, get yourselves a bit of rest. I should see you in the next one. I really hope that you want to help out my channel with the carrot and not the stick. And if that is the case, consider helping out on my Patreon. Help support the channel to keep going even longer without any sort of repercussions. And through that, I need to thank Noku, Raywin, Sal, Arthia, Kite, Mystic Square, Shuan, Mads, Gurley, Cardboard, Acne, Wawan Tori Jane, Danny Swede, Diego Zenhausen, Jim Ace, SZ9870, and everyone else. Because so far, no one's thought about raiding my carriages. And no, I don't quite know what that would mean.